Hello and welcome to another HRS training video. Today we are going to cover button properties and go more in depth as to the options you have available to you. So on the screen you can see that we have two buttons added to our control surface that we had done in a previous training video. So let's click on the first button, and you'll notice when you click on the button on the right side here you'll have a list of properties for that specific button. This will show up as you click on different buttons, sliders, labels. It'll adjust and adapt to whatever you're clicking on the control surface will then show on the right side for options. The first thing that you'll notice on the very top here is the navigate option. The navigate will show you a list of your control surfaces so that you can press a button to take you to another page and back and forth. As you add control surfaces, they will show in this drop down here for you. The next option is commands, which we covered in the previous one. Simply click the plus, you'll be able to add your device, select the command for that device, and then any options for it. If you are doing multiple devices, you'll notice that there's a follow time that we can set so that it can execute multiple commands from one button. The next you'll see is style. So you have a couple options. You have the standard button, keyboard button, or flash button. The standard button is what you see on the screen. When you press it, it'll show a selected image until another button is pressed on the control surface. The keyboard button will allow you to map a virtual button to a physical keyboard. And then the flash button will allow you to have the button show a selected image for a set period of time and then change back to the unselected image. The next option you have underneath there is your text options for what you want to display on the box, your image that you want the button to show, and you can hit the green plus or red minus to remove the image or add the image. This will work with any JPEG, PNG, or even some small GIF files. You'll also see there's a background colors option. The background colors will not show unless you delete the image. They're one or the other. They don't do both. By default, it'll do the image until you remove that image. You'll also have your font options. You can change the font size of the text, the color of the font, the alignment. So you can change it left, right, center. Same with vertical, top, center, or bottom. You can also customize the font for our Windows and iOS apps for what will the font look like on those devices. Next, you'll have your position and sizing. The position is just an XY coordinates, so you can type in manually where you want those buttons. The next is your height and width options. So by default, the buttons are added at 100 by 100 pixels, and you can customize this and edit them how you like. And you also have a z-index for the web and iOS and Windows apps so that you can stack different layers on top of each other to show different pieces of information. The display options will allow you to display a variable. So these are different variables in our system. When you select the drop down for it, you can pick a variable. So if you were having a response come back that was showing the resolution of a input on a matrix, you could have it display that resolution on the button. The display text will allow you to display the text on the button if needed. Standard time, military time, date, pause scripts, time code, all different options to show that information on the button itself. The next that you will see is the selected options. Selected options are the button color, font, and image. So when you press a button, what does it do? Does it change to a different image? Does it change to a different color? You can all have these customized on here so that when you press a button, the font changes and the button image changes. You can also have this change when a specific variable equals a specific value, which is nice for using for power on and off. So when you press the power button on, it shows that end user that the power is actually turned on. As we scroll down here a little further, you'll notice that there are conditional settings. So we can also set custom images based on specific variables when they equal, don't equal, greater than, different options for different values for those variables. And same goes for the fonts. So you can set the custom font based off of a variable value equaling, not equaling, greater than, or equal to. As you go down further under advanced options, you also have a disabled option. The disabled image will allow you to disable the button so that it cannot be pressed. You can select a clear button so that no one sees that button when a specific variable equals a specific value. These will allow you to, disable like a volume button when it gets to the max level or to a certain level that you don't want the end user to go past. Button groups and button references are for searching and finding these buttons later in the system, so that way you can locate and find different pieces if you weren't the one to create these or were just for category purposes. You'll also have some security functions, which will log out of all users, show the admin panel, show the login panel, so that you can have different people log in. You also have accessibility hints, so that way if you have the accessibility turned on some of our iOS apps, you can then have it, when the person taps it, it'll read back what that accessibility hint is, so if it's someone who has a tough time seeing the text on there, it'll read it back. So that will cover all of the options for buttons. If you were to right click and add a label and click on the label, you'll notice that this has changed drastically. Still similar features and functions on there. You still have your display, position and sizing, font and style. You do have your advanced options for referencing the selected options, and then you'll have accessibility options as well. So these will customize. The buttons have the most options, and each one will kind of base itself off of there. Thank you for joining us for our training video, and we look forward to working with you in the future.